Hello, friends, and welcome to The Hanged Man and the Moon. If this is your first time here, welcome. Thank you for coming. I'm pleased to meet you. If you've been here before, thank you for returning. I'm truly honored. Friends, if you are a returning visitor, you probably know a couple of things. One is that this is not my normal place of recording videos. I'm here in my apartment, and I'm probably going to try to finish this series here in my apartment, and then go back to my normal recording space for several reasons, which I don't really need to get into here, but here we are. The second thing is you probably know that I'm in the middle of a series in which I am explaining how I have rediscovered for myself a different way of associating esoterica with the Tarot. And when I say esoterica, I'm primarily talking about the Kabbalah and astrology. And I've done several videos giving introductions in this series. I did one overarching introduction video at the very beginning of the series, which explains how I'm doing this, why I'm doing this, what's it all about. Yes? So if you have not seen any of this series, I recommend starting there. And then I did the 3 videos on the major arcana. Then I did another introduction light to the minor arcana. And then I did another introduction for the minor arcana, which is a more in-depth exploration of the terms and the system that I'm using, which is different from the Golden Dawn. And I'm starting now with the wands. But for the rest of the series, I'm not going to go back and explain what I mean by words like decans or complements or detriments or exaltations or falls or what cardinal fire and what mutable air means, right? That's all been explained. And if you have seen it, that's great. If you know what those things mean, that's also great. But if you don't know, I'll put a card up here so that you can click on the link and hop back on over to the first introduction light for the minor arcana, and then you can follow along with that, because it's really going to be helpful and important to know what I am talking about when I say those things. So you might want to take notes. You might want to take notes when I'm going through the wands and the rest of the suits as well, and then go back and watch the videos again, just so that you get a sense, if you're interested, in how I am working with Tarot from now on. Generally. There are going to be some exceptions, yeah? The exceptions are going to be when the astrology is actually printed on the card. For example, the Thoth Tarot, the Harris Crowley Tarot. The astrology is printed on the card, and so I'm going to go with that. But when it's not on the card, I'm doing what I want to do. Does that make sense? So friends, in this video, we're starting with the wands. And we're going to go through each one of the cards in great detail. I will give you the upright meanings for the cards and the reversed meanings for the cards. Now, that doesn't mean I demand that you read with reversals. I'm not saying that reading with reversals is necessary in any way. There are many times when I do not read with reversals. That's okay. But even if the cards are not reversed, when a card lands in a position in shadow or a challenge position or an opposition position, those reversal meanings will still be helpful. Does that make sense? So I'm giving you as much information as I possibly can about the wands. And remember, I want to emphasize this once and once only, I am not using the system that is or that was developed by the Golden Dawn. Yes? I'm doing something else. And because of that, as we start with the aces, right off the bat, it's going to be different. So come walk with me through this journey. Yes? So here they are, the aces. Lovely cards. You can see on this side, I have the Rider-Waite-Smith. On this side, I have the Tarot de Marseille. Now, the Rider-Waite-Smith deck that I'm using was created by Conrad Stein, and I'll have a link in the description box below if you want to get that card. Or I'm sorry, not the card, the deck. The Tarot de Marseille is the Noblet. It was produced by Flournoy, and I'll have a link in the description box if you want to go get that deck. And last thing before we start, I want to say thank you. Thank you for doing all of those things that you do. Thank you for hitting the thumbs up button. Thank you for subscribing. Because you do those things, other people can find us and our community grows. And because of that, especially, you are a true blessing to all of us. Also, thank you for commenting in the comment section. I am overjoyed when I see comments down there. And if you have any questions, please ask me in the comment section. If you have confusion around any of the terms, feel free to ask in the comment section. I'm not going to explain them again, but if you want to ask away. Also, if you have any other ideas that you want to add, please add them in the comment section. Yes? So, friends, thank you for all of your interaction. And I hope this is helpful for you. I hope this is interesting. I hope it helps expand your way of working with the cards. So again, we've got those two cards up there, the aces, yes? Now, aces, for me, are the first decan of the cardinal signs of all of the suits. So here we have wands or batons. So they are cardinal fire. So that means they are Aries, yes? The first decan of Aries, which is Aries, which is Mars in Aries, yeah? And through this card, cardinal fire's vital attributes are entering our spread. That's how I learned how to express this, yeah? Some vital attributes are entering the spread through these cards. So here, cardinal fire's vital attributes are entering the spread. It's Mars in Aries. And when it's upright, we'll go through upright first, and then we'll talk about the reversals. Upright, this is a spark that ignites. Now that's what Mars in Aries is. It's the spark that ignites the fire, right? Now, that astrological association is very highly competitive, and it's action-oriented. There's a pioneering aspect to cardinal fire. And things are started, but they're not always finished, right? For things to be completed, some other energy or some focus or something else needs to be added. This is just the initial spark. There's the feeling of wanting to or needing to prove yourself through action in these cards. And we can think of, in both these cards, we see the hand giving this wand, this baton, to us, to the situation. And it's like this potential spark giving thing is presented to us. And we light the fire. But that fire can sputter out. Courage is important here. And remembering that we can make a new start at any time, because this is a card of initiators, yes? The question that I would ask through this card, and I'm going to add questions to all of the cards, upright and reversed. The question for this card is, what impulse or desire is trying to begin when I see this card? Now, remember, Mars is domiciled in Aries, so we have a clean ignition here. Yeah, it's a pure initiative. It is action that begins without resistance. There's a creative spark. Yeah, it's the first motion. Will knows where it wants to go. Now, will it get there? It might get distracted. Who knows? But will knows where it wants to go. And it may be more than one place. So that might be a distraction too. You get it? Now, what happens when this card is reversed? Reversed, the spark smolders. Yeah, it starts to sputter. There's a spark there, but it's less stable. Yes? So, in this position, we can find some recklessness. Yeah, maybe foolishness or negative or unhelpful impulsiveness. Impatience. Maybe being a little quick-tempered could be part of this card reversed. I hope it doesn't bother you that I'm not going to reverse the cards here on the screen. Just keep following my voice and see the cards upright, okay? Now, when the card is reversed, Mars is now no longer in Aries. It is now in the similar, which is Scorpio. Now, Mars is also domiciled in Scorpio, but this is fire Mars in water Scorpio. So there's a discomfort here. So energy turns inward instead of outward. Yeah? Pressure builds before it can release. Desire exists, but it's contained. There's hesitation. There is an internal struggle here. There's a simmering drive, but it hasn't gotten to start because it's floating in or maybe somewhat drowning in the water of Scorpio. Does that make sense? And the question I would ask through this is, what spark is present but not yet really able to ignite when this card is reversed? Okay, so that's where we are with with the Ace of Wands. Now we will go over to the Two of Wands. Yes? Now the Two of Wands, that means it's the second decan of Aries, which means we have the Sun in Aries, which means we have the fixed aspect of cardinal fires, vital attributes entering our spread. The fixed aspect of cardinal fires, vital attributes entering the spread. There's an additional fixedness to this spark of the cardinal fire. So when the card is upright with the Sun in Aries, we have choosing a direction. Yes, it's not just knowing where you want to go. There's more of a choice here. The Sun in Aries gives us the ability to finish what we begin. Right? There's intensity. Through the Leonine aspect of the second decan, we have noble affections here. Yeah? We have the capacity to organize and lead with our talents. Yeah, the talented leader Leo is activated here in Aries. We have strong willpower. And when Mars is in its complement, because this is the second decan, yes, we have complements and detriments. Upright, it's a complement. We have Mars in Taurus. What does that give us? It gives us the initiative slowed into direction. So the Tauran slowness allows us to focus more, you might say. Yeah? Our will seeks stability. It seeks groundedness. We choose where we're going to apply our energy. Where are we going to apply our force here? And our energy wants to last, not just start. There's the endurance of Earth-like Tauran energy here. And so you see the guy in the Smith-Waite deck, right? The guy in the Smith-Waite deck is choosing, is finding direction, right? And so when the card is upright, the question I might want to ask is, how should I direct my will in relationship to this spark of impulse, of inspiration, of desire to act? How do I direct my will in relationship to that? And that looks like a pretty good match to this card, don't you think? Now, when we see the card in reverse, with the sun's fixed aspect of cardinal fire entering our reading here, we're unable to commit to an action. Our ability to commit is shaky or non-existent. Some egotism might be activated here, right? The desire for prestige. I want to look good. Whatever I start doing, I want it to look good. I want people to recognize me. Yes? So in its detriment, now the second decan reversed, we have a detriment. We now have Mars in Libra. So what happens there? Our will is diluted by others. Yeah? People around us get us a little either confused or shake our focus, our willpower. Now, our other people's influences make our foundation more unstable. We start second guessing ourselves, right? We become indecisive. Action is postponed by negotiation, either with other people or with ourselves. Well, if I do this, then what will happen? Then what will happen there? But then what if I do that? And yeah, it's power split between options. Yeah, the duality, the splittedness of the twos becomes weakness, or dissolution of energy. So the question I would want to ask with the twos when reversed is, what uncertainty is preventing my decisive action? Because remember, we haven't started acting yet, which is a pretty good match for twos, I think. We haven't started acting, but the desire to act, the initiation or the plan to act, what is preventing me from doing that? What is my uncertainty? Where is my foundation unstable? Where's my choice unclear? Yes? So, cardinal fire, the fixed aspect of cardinal fire, the fixedness is unfixed, you might say. Yeah? Now we look at the threes. The threes, the third decan of cardinal fire, which gives us Jupiter in Aries. So we have the mutable aspect of cardinal fire's vital attributes entering our spread. Jupiter, expansive Jupiter, right? And you can see in the Smith-Waite card that expansiveness. And threes are also expansive, right? The two combine to generate the third. So when this card is upright, what do we get? Yeah? Planned expansion is the way I would express that in a quick keyword. When Jupiter is in Aries, we have the feeling of being culturally ambitious. It's not just our personal ambition, it's an expansive ambition, yes? maybe new education, maybe new religious or cultural projects are on our mind. We can adapt ourselves to effective action in diverse circumstances. Yeah, the mutable aspect is able to adapt to things. Mutable is able to adapt, cleans things up, and is ready to move on to the next thing. And we think of the threes as being ready to move on or starting the journey on the next leg of the journey, of course. We're interested in the greater good and of social order now. It's not just our own personal desires. Our desires have expanded to include other people. Now Mars is now in the third decan in its exaltation, right? Do you remember what that was from the previous introduction videos? Which means Mars is in Capricorn. What does it mean when Mars is in Capricorn? It means our vision becomes strategy. We figure out how to get things done. Action gains structure. Capricorn is an earth sign, right? So it's all about structure, climbing up the mountain. So the fire of Aries is able to get that structure, to get that strategy going. Our authority comes through our grounded, earthy discipline. And our expansion has a purpose. Our expansion with Jupiter has a purpose. We have a long-range ambition, which we didn't have with the Ace of Wands, which was just the spark of desire and ambition. Now we've got long range. We have not only the fixed stability of the Leo aspect, but now we have that expanded farther with Jupiter, which means long range ambition. And the question I would ask is, how can this energy be expressed outwardly? Not just move me, but how can this energy express out into the world? Does that make sense? And in this card here, in the Smith-Waite card, we can see the wide world, not just being held in our hands. We're standing and viewing with personal experience the wide world and moving out into that wide world with our ships. There are ships in that card, right? Now, what happens when the card is reversed? The first key word that I would get from the mutable aspect of cardinal fire's vital attributes entering our reading is emotional drag on our momentum. Now, we have momentum potential, but it's being dragged down by how we're feeling. Now, the Jupiter expanded is now weighing down. So maybe we're also not only weighing down, but maybe Jupiter's expansion is now narrowing, right? We are becoming more narrow-minded. Maybe we're a little self-righteous. I know what's right. I know what's good. The zeal we had can become fanatical. I'm right. I know what's good for everybody. And dang it, if you don't agree with me, you're heretic. In a way of expressing it. Yes? Because we also have the idea of Mars being in its fall, which means Mars has a challenge here to work out. So the opposite side of Capricorn is Cancer on the zodiacal wheel. So Mars is now in Cancer, a water sign. Fiery Mars is in a water sign. So our action is undermined by our emotions. We get defensive or reactive, and our willpower is affected by that. Our energy is spent protecting ourselves and maybe others, but definitely ourselves, protecting ourselves physically perhaps, but probably more intellectually, spiritually, emotionally. Rather than advancing, right? We're protective. And our initiative is weakened by our insecurities. So the question I would ask when this card is reversed is, what is fragmenting or delaying our forward momentum? Is it our need for self-preservation or protection, right? Is it our narrowness of mind or heart? Is it our need to be right and for everybody to agree with us? Our fanatical zeal. I'm doing the right thing. I know what's right. You agree with me, or my way or the highway, right? All of those things could be the Three of Wands reversed. Now, we go on to the fours. The fours. The four is, in the way I am reconstructing my associations with the Tarot, potentially my birth card now. And I'm not talking a major arcana birth card. That's something different. That's numerology. And I'm talking about I am early degree Leo. Yes, I am fixed Leo all the way. So my decan, my personal natal chart decan of Leo reflects this card. What does that mean? That means that here we have the fixed fire's vital attributes entering our reading. First decan of Leo, fixed fire. Fixed fire's vital attributes enter our reading through this. And that's also my sun sign. Upright, the key words could be things like celebration. Shared celebration especially. Sounds pretty good for the fours, right? So when the sun is in Leo, which is also, again, my sun sign, which I think is pretty funny. Yeah, my sun sign is the sun in Leo. Vitality and personal authority are strong, right? Reputation is important. We want to have a good reputation. We have staying power. We are determined and we are self-confident. Yeah? There's also the need or the desire for domination, which could be on the negative side, but there are some positive aspects to that. We want to dominate our situation. We want to be in charge, large and in charge. We can be dramatic. We can be show-offs. That can be fun on the positive side, because we can be fun and exciting. Yeah. There's a powerful love within us that wants to express itself. We're intense, a little subjective, and a little bit attached. But we do have spiritual power, and our spiritual power will bring concentrated attention. We're really a fixed sign, able to focus, right? Now, when the sun is in its domicile, Leo, we have stable vitality, joy in manifestation, creative success is held in place, that fixed quality, celebration, foundation, and visibility. We don't celebrate in quiet, right? We don't show love quietly. The stuff we do, it's visible, it's out there. Yeah? And we can think of those as positive attributes. Now, some people might look at that and say, that's not positive, that's being a show-off. But the question I would ask for this card upright is, what energy needs to be stabilized or grounded? Remember, the fire is energy, so the fixed quality is the grounding of that fire. What energy wants to be or needs to be grounded in this situation? Now, what happens when the card is reversed? We have a keyword, perhaps, of protected happiness. We want to make sure that everything is going to be okay, right? We're not a little less confident, perhaps. Our stubborn egos can show up here when the card is reversed. Yeah, there's an ego-centeredness. There's a pride, the negative sense of pride, needing to be the center of attention. Look at me, look at me, look at me. Instead of just being visible, it's demanding that attention. Yeah, and we might lack humility. Now, even when upright, we might lack a little bit of humility, but this is just over the top, lacking humility. Yes. Now, when this card is reversed again, the sun is no longer in Leo, it is in the water sign of Cancer. I almost said Capricorn, which is weird, but it's in the opposite sign of Cancer, the partner, Cancer. Water. The sun in water is not all that happy. So our vitality turns inward. Instead of being showy, those vital attributes are going in here. Yeah? Security replaces celebration. We want to be safe. Our focus is on the home, which could be good, or containment, which could be bad. Could be good, but it could be a feeling of being imprisoned, right? Let's see. I'm sorry, I lost something here. I'm sorry, friends. I had a little problem with my computer. It's better now. We were finishing up the reverse of the Four of Wands, right? And the last thing I wanted to say was joy exists with this card still. It's there, but it's private, right? It's private. And instead of showing off or exuding joy and sharing it with others, we keep it inside. And the question I would ask is, where has stabilization become stagnation? Now we think of this card, the coming home, right? Well, instead of just coming home, you go inside the home, you close your doors, and you don't go out. And that's stagnation, right? So, let's move on to the Five of Wands. With the Five of Wands, we have Jupiter in Leo, which means we have the mutable aspect of fixed fire's vital attributes entering our spread through this card. The mutable aspect of fixed fire. So the first word I might think of is rivalry that strengthens. So instead of looking at this card and thinking of it as, oh, bad, 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 conflict, upright, we can think of it as, yeah, rivalry, butting shoulders, but that exercise makes us stronger. And remember, Jupiter expands the fixedness of Leo. So, Jupiter in Leo is what? It's cultural leadership. It's not just leading our immediate friends and family, perhaps, but the larger group, the larger society. Understanding of social, cultural, and other trends. We have the potential to mold public opinion. We have maybe philosophical leanings. We're interested in learning stuff. Yeah? And we can be able to maintain our own direction against public opinion as well. We might be leading other people, but we can also maintain our direction even if it is different from the direction of other people. Does that make sense? And thus we might seem aloof, maybe, because we're not following along with everybody else. Our desire is for improvement. But we might be quick to notice weakness in others. Yes? But still we're optimistic and we have integrity. We believe our own luck. Jupiter's the lucky planet, right? And when we think of this card as being the second decan of Leo, we have the sun in its complement, which is Capricorn. So when the sun is in Capricorn, there is a little bit of a discomfort here. Yeah, our ego could be tested by structure. We want to expand, but Capricorn structure might make us feel a little too or uncomfortably contained. Yeah. Competition sharpens our identity. We know who we are a little better by competing with other people. Our authority can be challenged here. Now you might be thinking, wow, this card is upright. Why all this seemingly negative stuff? But we can learn from this, right? Our authority is challenged, but we can become more productive because of that. And it can become a creative friction, right? And the question I would ask is, what tension or competition is testing my will? And how is that beneficial? How am I growing? How can I expand? How can I find better or new opportunities from this? Now, what happens when this card is reversed? When it's reversed, we get the idea of struggle for relevance. Instead of struggle that strengthens us, we're struggling to remain relevant, to remain important for our ego. Yeah? And so we might attempt large, impressive enterprises or endeavors for the sake of looking big. We might desire superiority. Instead of desiring to be our best, to expand, we want to be better than everybody else. You know, you understand that difference, right? That nuance. When the sun is in its detriment, it is no longer in Capricorn, it is now in Aquarius. So our egos could be destabilized by group dynamics when this card is reversed, right? The people around us make us feel like our ego is shaky. We could feel like we're losing our central role in the group dynamic. Our purpose can become diffused. And we could find conflict without any clear leadership. So it's just chaotic. Now that might be extreme, but still moving towards chaotic conflict instead of focused, competitive butting of shoulders that can be positive in some ways. And the question I would ask when this card is reversed is, what conflict is being suppressed or misdirected? Instead of being a conflict or a competition that is beneficial or that strengthens or that inspires growth and development, it's a misdirected conflict, or a conflict that I won't look at. I'm not going to pay attention to it. That's another possibility for the card in reverse. Because I feel if I look at it, I'm going to feel like my ego is under attack. My self-confidence is wobbly, shaky, potentially shattered, right? Okay, so let's look at the sixes. Yeah, the sixes, the guy on the horse, the triumphal march. Here we have, now this is people call Mars martial, right? It's a martial planet, meaning it has the potential for being warlike. And here we have the victory march, right? So we have Mars in Leo here. Yeah, Mars is here entering the third decanate, is entering Leo. So we have the cardinal aspect of fixed fires, vital attributes entering our spread through this card. And the key word I might go for with this card is visible success when it's upright. Yeah, we're successful, everybody can see. Looks very much like this card. Yes? So our initiative and energy to begin projects and see them through is being satisfied. We are self-sufficient. We are, what? We want to be first, of course. And we can compensate others because we are so magnanimous. Yes? We have personal magnetism and vitality. We can draw people to us like the guy on the horse. We're spontaneous and demonstrative. Yeah, those Leo qualities are still there. We still, with this card, we crave, desire leadership positions. We like being up on that horse, right? Leading other people. We have courage, though. And we have determined willpower. And we have a large ego. We can think of this large ego as the positive side of the large ego, the magnanimous large ego. Yes? And maybe we need to love the work that we do or work with the one that we love, with Mars in Leo. The question I might ask when this card is upright is, how can energetic balance or alignment be restored? Yeah, how can we get going again? Yeah, how can our balance be restored? How can our alignment with our eternal natures be established? Yes? Now, when this card is in reverse, what do we get? We get the idea of, instead of visible success, we have uncertain acclaim. Now, there might be applause, but it looks like it's not enduring. Yeah, there's an uncertainty about it. It's like those people who go, "Oh yeah, that's great," that kind of feeling. When the card is reversed, we have the sun in its fall, which means the sun is now in Libra instead of being in Aries. Oh, did I talk about the sun's exaltation? I didn't talk about okay, back up a little bit. I don't think I talked about the exaltation. Yeah? So when the card is upright, we have the sun in Aries because we have the sun in its exaltation. So what does that add to the upright meanings? We have victory through boldness. Yeah, we have recognition earned by action. That guy on the horse is there because he did stuff and was successful. Our leadership is affirmed by others. Yeah, other people are applauding us and saying, yeah. And our confidence is renewed, revitalized. Right? So, again, that is the card upright. When it's reversed, that applause now becomes uncertain again, right? Our recognition, because the sun is in its fall, our recognition depends on others. It's not, they're not drawn to us because we've been so successful. We earned the applause. Yeah. Our recognition depends on others, not on ourselves. Our victory is questioned by others. Now you might be thinking, well, that sounds more like the Seven of Wands. We'll get to that in just a second. But we can think of this card reversed as maybe preparing us for the Seven of Wands. And our confidence is weakened by comparison, right? Yeah, we were good, but that person maybe was better than us, so maybe we aren't as good as we thought we are, right? Or maybe those people were almost as good, so maybe our success is not as great as we thought it was. Does that make sense? And we have this need for approval. We need other people to clap for us. The guy on the horse, when it's upright, is people are clapping, we're happy, this is great. Of course, this is the natural state of the world because this is all correct. When it's reversed, it's, you've got to applaud me, you've got to recognize me, you gotta. If you don't, who am I? I'm nothing. So the question I would ask when these cards are reversed is, where is recognition or momentum not landing? Yeah? Maybe there is some recognition out there, but it's meaningless, or it lacks meaning, or the meaning is weak, right? Or maybe our momentum is there, but it's just not landing. It's not, the treads have not met the asphalt, right? Does that make sense? I hope it does. Okay, let's move on to the sevens. We are now beginning the mutable aspect of the fire signs. So, Seven of Wands, guy standing up on a hill in the Smith-Waite deck. This is Sagittarius. The first decan of Sagittarius is Jupiter in Sagittarius, which means we have mutable fire's vital attributes entering our spread through these cards. And the keyword idea we might keep for ourselves now is standing firm, standing tall. You can kind of see that in this card, right? So when Jupiter is in Sagittarius, we have an Jupiter's expansive philosophical outlook. And our interests could be religion, it could be philosophy, it could be higher education. We have foresight in cultural developments. We can see how culture is going to progress. There might be a constant setting of goals for ourselves, but it's in an optimistic way. We expect that we're going to be able to fulfill those goals. We don't admit failure if there is any. It's not failure. It's a learning opportunity, right? That's a this card upright kind of attitude. We often align ourselves with institutions when Jupiter's in Sagittarius, yeah? Or large projects. There's a quality of zeal and passion for these big things when Jupiter is in Sagittarius. We could be bright, we could be alert, we could be very quick moving, maybe we don't stand still, and we dream big when Jupiter is in Sagittarius. And remember, Jupiter in Sagittarius is also playful, so this is an enjoyable thing. And you might be thinking, well, that guy doesn't look like he's having fun. Well, try to see maybe that he could be enjoying his high position. So the question I might ask when this card is upright is, what position or effort needs to be defended or reassessed? Yeah? I'm here, I'm enjoying myself, I've got this wide vision, I'm planning these goals. Is there any defensiveness or efforting of my position that might not be giving full attention to, that might need some reassessment? Maybe I don't need to be defending myself. Yes? Maybe I can just stand firm. Look out for those problem areas that can pop up if we're not giving them attention. Yes? Doesn't mean that I want to create them by, where's the problem? Where's the problem? Where's the problem? I don't want to be paranoid about it, but I want to be clear and open and aware of where some defensiveness might be springing up or starting to sprout. Yes? Does that make sense? Now, when this card is reversed, what do we have? Oh, I'm sorry. I keep skipping over. Okay, so we're still upright. Jupiter is in its domicile with this card upright. So that means we are confident in our beliefs. We defend our own truth. We have moral courage. When the rabble around us are immoral, maybe we have our moral courage. And we are expansive through our own conviction. We're convicted. We defend our position. Yes? Now, when the card is reversed, again, instead of Jupiter being in its domicile Sagittarius, it's similar, which is Pisces. So we got fiery Jupiter in watery Pisces. Fire enters water, what happens? Diffusion or smothering, right? So Jupiter and fire Jupiter in Pisces, our faith diffuses. It gets watered down. Yes? Our boundaries soften. So we're not able to do what he's doing, keeping his boundary clear. It softens. And so we might lose our containment, which fire wants containment to be able to be bright and focused, not spread out like water. Our conviction can be replaced by empathy. Maybe we start feeling for others too much, weakening our conviction. And whatever we're struggling for loses its clarity. Instead of defending what is right, we're just struggling because we're struggling. Does that make sense? And so the question I might ask is, what exhaustion or doubt is undermining my resolve? What exhaustion or doubt is undermining my resolve? Where is water messing up my fire? Yes? Okay, so now we're moving on to the second decan of Sagittarius, which means we've got Mars in Sagittarius, which means we have the cardinal aspect of mutable fire's vital attributes entering our spread. And the key word that I might give or offer for this card upright is targeted movement. Cardinal goes for a target, right? So the mutability wants to move forward. So targeted movement. When Mars is in Sagittarius, we have militant Mars, militant crusaders for religious, political, educational, cultural beliefs. Religious, political, educational, or cultural beliefs can, in the negative sense, become zealous. But we're out there crusading for what we think is right in any of those fields. Again, religion, politics, education, or culture. But we are adventurous. Yes? We like travel. We like to experience things. There's an optimistic drive to Mars being in Sagittarius. We have initiative and self-confidence. There's a lot of self-confidence in all of the fire signs, right? And our ideals are towards practical action. We remember and on the other hand, we remember the abstract philosophical idea, and we might forget the ordinary, normal, day-to-day stuff. Our minds might be so expansive and towards cultural development, religious, spiritual development, that we forget the practical day-to-day stuff. Does that make sense? It's exploration, right? Mars in Jupiter wants to explore. Now, because this is the second decan, Jupiter is in its complement of Virgo. Jupiter is in its complement of Virgo, which means our vision becomes actionable. And we have that Virgoan ability to organize stuff so we can do it, right? So that broad vision becomes actionable now. It's grounded in the earth of Virgo. Our movement can become more precise. The precision of Virgo helps us. Messages that we receive or that we give land correctly because Mercury, which is domiciled in Virgo, aids us with communication. We progress through our ability to adjust. Yeah? And the question I might ask of this card when it is upright is, what focused action is required of me now? Now, I've got all these expansive ideas, and I will fight for the development and progress of all of education and philosophy, and sounds like my dad actually. But still, we want to think of the focused action to take. So that might be a good question to ask of this card, which is speeding quickly, right? Now, when this card is reversed, we have, instead of targeted motion, right? Those wands coming down towards a target, you might think, we have chaotic motion. Those wands are now flying off everywhere. Yes? So there could be a quality of foolhardiness. There could be a quality of loving anything that goes fast just for the speed of it. It might, even though it's not going anywhere we want to go. If it's going fast, we like it, you know? Independence to the negative extreme of being unable to accept anybody else's ideas or thoughts, or even give attention to the broader cultural contexts or philosophical contexts or religious, spiritual contexts, or political contexts. When the card is reversed, we have Jupiter in its detriment, which is Gemini. Yeah. So now we have Jupiter in Gemini. We have scattered momentum. Now, Gemini is not all that good at having a focused, singular point of thought. Gemini is split. And here it's more than just split into two. It's just distracted, scattered momentum. Too many directions. Mixed messages. Mercury's communication skills are no longer so good. Yeah? Expansion without coherence. Yeah, not things spread out, but not, they disassociate. They're not holding together into one thing. It gets just broken up, fragmented, you might say. And so the question I might ask is, where is energy scattered or poorly aimed? Where is my energy scattered or not aimed correctly? Because it could be problems in both ways, right? It could be energy directed in many different directions, so it becomes meaningless, or it's aimed in the wrong direction. And that seems really nicely appropriate for these cards, especially the Smith-Waite version, right? Now, what happens when we get the nines? The nines. We now have the sun in Sagittarius. So we have the fixed aspect of mutable fires, vital attributes entering our spread through these cards. And the key word I might offer is guarded preservation. Guarded preservation. Because the sun in Sagittarius is determined and optimistic, there's power and influence in education, in religion, spirituality, and cultural institutions. We get our power and our influence in those spheres. There's the potential for enlightenment. Our romantic lives are idealistic, perhaps. We are performers. We love applause. We never seem to grow old. We are, jovial. Comes from Jove, another word, Jupiter, Jove, jovial. Now, we are jovial, but we won't be forced. Our happiness, you can't make us be happy. Yeah? You can't make us laugh. We don't turn from problems, but we don't ask for help either. We fight our own battles. We solve our own problems. When Jupiter is now in its exaltation, third decan, the planet that is domiciled in Sagittarius is Jupiter. So now we have Jupiter in its exaltation, remember? So Jupiter is exalted in Cancer, which is interesting, right? Because it's a water sign. So what does it mean for Sagittarius? Well, our faith is sustained through care, for caring for others, caring for what we have faith in. We protect what we have built. There's the Cancerian need to protect things, right? So the things we build, we protect. We have emotional resilience. Cancers are emotional, and resilience is part of this card. And we have endurance rooted in our belonging to our community. Yeah? So with this card, the question I might ask is, what effort has reached its limit? What effort has reached its limit? We've built something, we're protecting it, but there's a limitedness to that, right? We're preserving things, but there's a limitedness to that. Our determined optimism might also indicate some fragrance of limitation because of that need for determination. Does that make sense? So when this card flips in the reversed direction, the key word might be exhaustion of faith. Now, the faith of Sagittarius is now exhausted. So what does that mean? Well, we might need to be careful of things like prejudice and biased viewpoints taking over our lives. Yeah? We also have Jupiter in Capricorn. Jupiter is now in its fall. Cancer is its exaltation. The opposite side of the wheel is Capricorn. So Jupiter in Capricorn is the fall, which means our hope is weighed down by obligation. We need to do too much stuff, and that weighs down our hope. We feel the fatigue of our beliefs. Our beliefs are making us exhausted when this card is reversed. Our expansion is also halted by our responsibility. Cancers are really responsible. Cancers want to go up. Sagittariuses want to expand. So our expansion is halted by our need to be responsible to the tasks that will get us going up. Right? And we might lose our optimism because of feeling weighed down by being in Cancer. I'm sorry, in Capricorn. In Capricorn. So the question I might want to ask of this card when it's reversed is, What persistence has outlived its usefulness? What have I been keeping doing because I'm determined, I'm persistent, but maybe that persistence has lost its purpose. It has lost its usefulness. Where is that? And how is that maybe dragging me down? How is it making me feel fatigue? How is it making me feel a loss of my optimism and my joy of doing the things that I do? Does that make sense? Okay, friends. Here we go with the tens. 10 of Wands. I described in the last video how I'm treating the tens differently. Yes? We have both a fullness and a liminality. A pressure cooker that needs to either transform or burst or move on. Yes? So, 10 of Wands. Upright is our will fully engaged. Yes? Our energy is everywhere at once. Our action can no longer be refined because we've reached a limit. We're doing and 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 doing. There's nowhere we can't, there's no room for tweaking or adjusting things. So the pressure needs to be released. We need to release the pressure, we need to rest, or we will collapse. Or maybe collapsing is the good option. Yeah? So instead of being burden, it's thermal overload. So upright, what energetic load is so full it must change would be the question. Yeah? What energetic load, what action, what energy have I been spending and using so much? It's got to change. Something's got to change. Or I need to just collapse. Now, this is the card upright, right? What happens when it's reversed? That engagement of will, maybe our energy being so spread out, we're not really paying attention to that. It's a problem not noticed. It's a situation not fully acknowledged. That pressure cooker feeling, we're deliberately not giving it our attention, which makes it even more dangerous. If we feel the pressure building up, we can feel that we got something that needs to be taken care of, right? If we're repressing that, if we're not paying attention to that, it becomes more problematic, right? So reversed, we might want to ask, what pressure is building without release or rest? What pressure is there? We've got to find it out. Or else it could explode into something much more devastating than it otherwise would be if we acknowledged it and we take care of it. Right? So friends, that is the end of the wands. What do you think? Does that make sense? Are the things that I said sometimes in line with the way you've already been thinking of those cards? Or are there things that made you just stop and say, what? Wait a second. No. That can't, no, huh? What? No. Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear. What do you think? If I was unclear about any of this, let me know about that. I want to hear what you think about that. Can I clarify things? Can I, there were a couple times I went back, I'm sorry because I realized I skipped over something. I think I know where I need to reorganize my notes for the next 3 videos, but I hope this makes sense for you. I hope that you have taken notes and that you'll explore working with this way of associating astrology with tarot. I hope I have not overwhelmed you, but interested you. I hope that I have titillated you. At least, I hope that I have titillated you, if not excited you, about a new way of, or a different way of approaching astrology. Now, I'm not saying that the way you see the cards has to completely change. This could be another layer. And remember, when we were talking about each of the cards, for example, we talked about Mars in Sagittarius and those qualities of militant crusaders, adventurous, and then we added the layer of Jupiter in Virgo. That doesn't mean that we read them as different things. It's just another layer of potential meaning. Potentiality is what we're talking about here. And then we use our intuition to extract the proper ideas, significances for the question that we're answering at the time, for the person that we're answering for in the place that we're answering. Yes? All of that goes into the mix when we are reading cards. So, friends, thank you. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the wands. And again, if you have questions, if you have other ideas, if you have any points where you think clarification is required or just you want to know more, let me know in the comments below. And as always, now and always, I wish you love, joy, well-being, and pure awareness. Thank you.